of sight. Can we hit rewind? Got me on your mind. Love on repeat. You just hit the lead. But wishing they were me, but they can't compete.
This boat knows exactly what it is here to do. The question is, do you? Ladies and gents, this is the Tesoro T50. This is a super awesome luxury day boat. For those of you, in my personal opinion, that have had experience and thinking quite deeply how your days are going to be. And welcome to Ibiza. Welcome to what, in my opinion, is probably the home where the foundation of these custom luxury day boats actually started. So it's quite fitting to be here, and you'll probably see a few examples popping around in the background. But the intention of this video is to give you a real deep dive into the layout and features of this Tesoro, and then in the next video, for those of you who want to buy one of these and understand what it's like to operate for a day, an Ibiza day, we'll be doing that in the very next video. My name's Dan Jones, welcome to Dan's Boat Life, and we'll start up here on the bow, and then I'm going to get straight back to the middle and then the aft section of the boat, and wait until you see the custom interior. This is a semi-custom builder, so no two Tesoros are exactly the same, and I think that's a key point for those of you who are, I would say, mature boaters, educated boaters, experienced boaters. You're going to be you're going to understand what I'm talking about. So up here on the bow, it's an amazing social, everyone's facing each other sun lounge. We've just come from the north part of the island because I wanted to test the boat in some waves, and the guys were sitting up here at 30 knots, comfortable, going down swell through some decent wind chop, not a problem. And everything's dry. We haven't cleaned the boat. It's as it is. We didn't get any water up on deck, so it's great. We can protect this whole area in a mesh sunshade. So the bases for that sunshade have their points dotted around. You'll see them 3 on either side, so this whole area can be protected. And then we've got quite stylish, matted out with rope protector drop down cleats. And how good is FlexiTeak getting these days? This is not real. It's going to last a lot longer. It's going to be much easier to maintain. You probably don't need to stress walking around with shoes on this stuff because it's essentially not real teak, but it looks fantastic. I like the Spanish flag on the bow. That's quite cute. The anchor deployment system on this one is straightforward, and it's logical because it's just one extendable bow roller which has its own housing which disappears when not in use and works quite well. It's not as complex as some of the systems that have a lot more moving parts, should last you a little bit longer. A couple of drink holders, essential for this style of boating. This is all about day boating. It's not really for those of you who want to do big adventures overnights and going places, staying on the boat all the time. This is the boat that suits the guy or girl who has a villa, somewhere amazing like this, and wants to design their epic days. So just notice a couple of stairs here, courtesy lights, speakers, we've got zones everywhere, we've got fender deployment, we've got rope protectors, and I actually just want to take you all the way to the back. Pay attention to the boarding stairs for getting on the dock or your big boat, plenty of places to hold on, and 6 fenders on either side, but come all the way out the back because it's pretty cool. And then I want to touch on that amazing table, because you could get 10 people around there and have an epic day. So, out back here, we're running the 600s. You can get this with inboard diesels. So if you're a fan of diesels, or if that's what you want to do, and therefore increase your workable space out here in terms of beach club area, you can do. But just pay attention to the amount of space we have available. I'll just step it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, call it 4.5 meters there. And if I just step this 1, 2, 3, 4 meters across the back, it's huge. We've got bucket loads of space. We've got it currently in the flat position. So this is what you're going to do when you set up for lunch. But if you're going to be underway at speed or in the ocean, you might lift this up high to clear the waves. And if you're doing a Mediterranean style boarding, you're going to need a passerelle. So it's also your passerelle, because this rubbing rail gives you all the protection you need, and it goes around the sides. And so that's going to allow you to have a little bit of wriggle room if you don't have a fender in that location. But I like the fact that we can we can get access to the fenders so easily in the way it has been designed. And they're not strange shaped fenders, they're proper fenders. And we'll have a look at that again when we get up there. You have the option to deploy extra ball fenders from these small little cleats. Do not tie the boat up off something that size, it's not designed for that. That is for extra fenders, and you'll see them dotted around the place. So that's giving you even more wriggle room should you need. And check this out. I guess the owner, I think I had met him this morning briefly, but I get the vibe that the owner of this boat is a very experienced boater, and that he has thought quite diligently about the flow of what his guests experience on a day out. And I want you to jump into the comments and sort of give me your feedback, because it looks to me like it has been designed for epic lunches for multiple people enjoying their time around the table. But this is just great, because this is basically making life so much easier stepping on and off the dock, because sometimes this distance can be a little bit of a jump. So that's really good. And because it's carbon, it weighs absolutely nothing, and it's got its own little custom housing, which we'll get to in a second. So swim ladder deployable just here. Don't need to use it, because this will also deploy down into the water, because this is a swim platform. We can put it into beach club mode, and then you got these stairs just here. So we have the stairs for boarding down from passerelle mode, and then boarding going up from swimming action should you need. Engines will trim up provided you raise this platform here. This gives us access across the transom, and under here we have a tender garage. So we can actually have a Williams tender under here. There's also access into the technical space. We're going to get to that later in the video. So if you are here in Formentera, if you're going to the beach clubs, they will actually pick you up. So you don't necessarily need a tender, but you can put all of your water toys, you can put your Williams, and there is an option to have a crane to deploy the tender, because yes, we've got a couple outboard engines in the way, so that's that. Or you just go for a lighter tender option that you could manually chuck in the water, or just toys. So these are the cleats that you're going to use to secure the boat. So that's going to be pulling you up Mediterranean style, or if we're coming alongside, obviously we would have the sides raised in that scenario. And then as you're coming on deck, you're going to go up these two stairs. That's actually courtesy light just there, and I like to see the color difference here, so basically I don't trip and embarrass myself, because that'd be embarrassing. This is super cool. It's just webbing worked in with the Tesoro and blacked out, but I think it looks nice. So operation of these is quite simple, super strong, and pay attention to the height of these gunnels. So we've got so much safety margin on a boat of this caliber that you can bring people of all ages. We've left the gyro off because I want you to see what the form stability is like, but we have the option to completely knock out all waves if we wish, by turning on the generator and activating the gyro, so then it won't rock at all. This is its inherent form stability as you see it right now. So if you want to see less waves, yes, it's possible. This is a test, so I want you to see what you see. So now, is this fixed? I think it is. Let me just give you a perspective of the space. So I'm going to say, depending on if it's the rugby boys or the bikini girls, it's going to be 3 to 5 people out here, absolutely no problems. The cross stitching is very nice. I think it's thoughtful to have this rail here, because this is a quick boat. We will do over 40 knots with these engines, and if someone slides back on acceleration, that's kind of thoughtful to give them something to hold on to. Just checking if any of that moves, I don't know. And this is where you store that carbon fiber grab rail that I discussed before. So let's try and dial in here, because there's a lot going on. You may or may not know, because accommodation is amazing and it's super custom, but we actually have a crew cabin down below. Oh, let's just check these guys. Okay, we got a captain. It's summer. It's actually the 13th of June, so all the party people are out here. We tried to get here early, but we had a couple of delays, so it is what it is. We're going to have to deal with all the traffic. But I think this is what makes a design like this super special, and this is what makes someone who's thought about their boat life and how they like to enjoy their time over their summers, which I notice Europeans really diligently think about seasons, unlike us Aussies who just kind of boat all year round. Europeans, in my opinion, are some of the best at designing epic, amazing experiences for summer. And that is as simple as getting 10 people around a dining table and being under the shade of this big fixed carbon fiber T-top with the extendable shore shade, so we can get the shade all the way back aft. If you want to read a book on that sun lounge and be out of the sun, you can, but this has got plenty of space. It's going to be really comfortable underway. You can check that out in the next video. It's going to be really social for your lunch. And then at the end of the day, when you want to actually just have a kip, you can actually lower this, put the cushions on top, and it's one ginormous outdoors bed. We also have another bedroom downstairs. However, underneath my butt, just here on the starboard side, is actually access into a crew cabin. We'll get down there a bit later, but if you want to operate this in fully crewed mode, I'm talking to you in Thailand as well. Clearly that's a European thing. I know that appeals to a lot of my mates on here, so can do, but you'll still be impressed when we see all the space we have below. And let's think, operationally, you're going to be all around the table. We've got another zone for our speakers here. We can control this zone with the Fusion, but we have more Fusion units moving forward. This is another one of our fender attachment for deployment places. But you're going to have rubbish. So we've got a rubbish bin right next to its optional rubbish or storage on either side, and we have one here and one there. So you're going to literally just pass the empties and chuck it in the bin. Seems sensible to me. I like that. We've got strip lighting directly overhead. So if we're gonna do an after dinner dining situation, al fresco wise, it's happening under the light of the strip lighting just here. But we also have an overhead glass skylight. It's tinted, but it's gonna keep this area kind of looking quite pleasant, depending on the amount of light you have. And I think it's probably worth sort of paying a bit of attention to this roof because it's all carbon fiber, aerodynamically designed, windows across the center line, and it's quite beamy. It's almost max beam for this social space, so we're all kind of protected. But now when we focus on the middle of the boat, this is the heart of basically your lunch a lot time, because we've got cooking, so we've got double hot plates just here. Lovely how it's been done underneath the Corian. And then we actually have fridge. You can option these as freezers as well. And then storage. Just have a look. I'll show you in this side. Look how lovely all these drawers have been done, and with the different sizes all the way across. They've got these leather pull-out tabs. So this is all storage across here. And on this is basically a prep area because there's no hidden TV under here. And I know a lot of you Americans love your TVs, but I'm going to argue, what do you need a blank TV for when you got this? Like, this is what boating should be about. You got to just enjoy nature and just enjoy your friends. And I think the focus about this boat is family and friends. So a couple of drink holders, that's essential. We've got 4 more on the main table as well, so we can facilitate for 8 people with the drinks in a rocky environment. Just in here is our sink. So that'll pop up. That's super cool. It's on the gas strut. Look at the details here, how nicely done that's been done. And then if you are preparing maybe some messy food, this is also going to protect the upholstery on the seats forward. So I think that's kind of thoughtful as well. And then we also have more refrigeration. So we've got 3 fridges in the heart of the boat, and then more storage, deep storage, and refrigeration and more refrigeration there. So this is operational side, because if you are running this boat crewed, they're going to be hanging around here, and then they're going to go down and forward, which we're going to get to in a second. So it's this part of the boat, you go up one step, but then the social spaces are all one level. And then I'll just show you, I'm just a fan of this. I know all the day boats have got storage for fenders in this location, but quite a few of them, they do fenders in odd shapes, and they do them in odd designs, and they look cool. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the looks, but they're just a faff around for actually deploying. Whereas this system, just haul it out, put it on the hook, get your height set up, you're ready to rock and roll. Happy days. I like having no fuss, because I personally, even though yes, you can run it with the captain, would want to run this boat myself. So, the Helm. You can go into details with me on the next video on how she performs, but from an operational perspective, our visibility is good. So we can see everything. A little bit of bow raise on acceleration. However, you've got this great big step here, so you can raise your height and then sit in at an elevated position like where I am right now. And if you look forward, I'm only 5'7", so look at my eye line forward. So you've got plenty of space further up for taller guys or girls. And then even the roof allows for extra head height for when you're doing that and transitioning from here to perhaps to there and then to here. So it works, it's all good. The keys, just be careful if you've got really long legs, you might hit the keys there, so just factor that in. And again, these guys are a bit of a semi-custom builder. I'm sure they could move that if that was a drama for you. But we've got VHF just here, we've got variable speed electric thruster just there. We're actually running this boat with trim tabs, not interceptors, and they are operated just here. I like the Tesoro custom touch just there, and the carbon up on the dash, but essentially no nonsense, all in English, everything from your lights, your deck lights, your underwater lights, waste management, horn, your windlass is done from here as well, although I'm sure we could do it from up in the bow. And then we've got traditional throttle, ergonomically placed for this Helm design, so that feels natural. I think the best thing from an operator's perspective is having the AC just here, and also being able to control it from just there. And as you can see, we've got the grippy, whatever that is, it's like grippy stuff, but your phone's not going to fall out of there, so that's quite handy. And then that looks like a chain counter just there, so that's handy. And then we've got a couple of drink holders here, and using the joystick, it's sensibly placed for backing up and then maneuvering yourself like so, changing hands. It feels natural, and you're also going to be able to operate when you step down. You can still reach the joystick and then move around, so that's fine. Grab hold here. These seats have all got individual flip-up bolsters, and you've got a little bit of back protection, so it's going to be comfortable for two guests underway. So I think that is kind of nice, because people are going to want to join you. We ran from the marina to Formentera, where we are right now, and it's like 18 nautical miles. Didn't take us very long, got here in about 35 minutes, but it was a fun ride, so it was enjoyable. And the word I was, because I've done the test drive video already, the word that came to mind about how this boat performs is graceful. It's graceful. So yes, it's powerful. Yes, it's fast, but it is comfortable. So you can set this thing on course with your 10 closest friends or more, and people are going to be comfortable. The engines are quiet, the hull is smooth, people can go to the bow if they want. It's a very big, wide, spacious platform with a lot of flow for people to move around and pass one another. Like if I'm here doing something, someone can still go behind me. Same thing on the wings out the side. So you've got enough space for people, multiple people. As you can see around us in the background, if you don't have the flow designed properly, your day gets clogged up with choke points, because people are trying to go somewhere and they're all getting clogged up with choke points, and it just doesn't work as well. So if you've done a lot of boating, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's that. Did we go up the starboard side? It's not much different to the port. It's all, it's just come up one more time. It's so lovely. How can we not? It's just puts you in another mood. I think this is why we go boating. How good's this? Freaking fantastic. Actually, we didn't pay attention to the roof, so let's do that while we're here. So this glass actually has a skylight going down into what is not accommodation. You're gonna like this. But we've got the single windscreen wiper. We've actually had no water on the decks, and we did try. We went into some waves. We didn't succeed. You can see the carbon fibre features running up the centre line, and then this boat's been fitted with Starlink. I think that's sensible for a boat of this calibre. We've got the radar, we've got the horns, we've got the GPS, we've got the high quality navigation lights. They're mounted up high. That's also kind of useful. The lower you mount them, the more they disappear in big swells. And then you can just see the aerodynamics essentially of the design of the T-top, which, because it's a fixed structure from here to the aft pillars, there's zero movement. There's no bouncing around, so you're not going to feel rattles when you're underway. And then we've got these strip lights in these locations, forward and across here, and then the courtesy lights down low where we can select what we want. So let's go check out the accommodation. So you can option this with 3 cabins, but this particular owner has gone full custom dayboat awesome mode. So I'm going to get back to the master cabin, which is in here, because I want to show you what's going on up front first. Let me just close that door properly. So I love the full stand-up mirrors. There's a few of those. We actually have in here a day head. So just poke the camera in there and have a look. A beautiful day head, really stylishly done. I love how they've carried the Corian all the way up the walls there. The colours have just been so well done, and the mirrors, that's fantastic. So that's ultimate dayboat vibes there. And then this space is special. There's a number of things going on in this space. So clearly, instead of going for a cabin here, we've gone for a full-on luxury lounge to come down and get out of the heat or the cold or wherever you are in the world and just enjoy. We have the TV, we've got the cabinet up on the port side. So this is where you watch your TV rather than up on deck where you really should be looking at the sunsets. We've got storage along the sides all the way forward. I love this touch here, how it's been complemented with the lights. We actually have storage everywhere you look. Nothing is wasted in terms of a storage perspective. Underneath the seats, the angle has been done really well, but there's something else that's pretty cool. This little coffee table actually has fold away legs, and the whole thing stores in there. So if you want to have this all open, or maybe you've got some, I don't know, something else to do in this area, it can just be all beautifully open planned. And then if you are potentially running a captain on the boat, they might be doing a little bit of prep down here, because we've got a sink, we've got more storage. This could also work well as a coffee station. And then we have another fridge. So this boat's been fitted with the 4 fridges. And again, storage everywhere. Access below my feet into the bilge here and there. And we're going from the soft carpet to the tile look. I don't know actually what it is. And then we've got the beautiful hard sort of stone stairs taking us up on deck. And even the, this actually is an important point, this handrail has been recessed into the companionway, because if you have a handrail that protrudes, it's going to hit you right here as you go up. If you're a tall person or whatever, it's actually just going to hit you. So let's now go into the master. Again, big stand-up mirror. Love the door finishing. Full, for me anyway, I'm 5'7", full stand-up headroom in here, full beam, offset bed. Again, remember, it's semi-custom, so you can kind of do what you want, but we have storage underneath this bed. There's an electric switch that lifts it up, so you can put your luggage down there. But then we have our big hanging lockers for storage underneath here. This lounge, you could probably have a sleep on it, should you wish. And then we do have electrically lowerable blinds just here, so we can get a little bit of privacy at night time. No one's going to see you in the daytime. And we've got another big TV that is perfect for sitting up in bed and watching here. I'll just double check if that's on a hinge. Yes, it is. And then we've got drawers, more small drawers on either side of the bed, charging points, storage behind the bed. The bed head allows you to sit up and be comfortable. We were sort of replicating that look that we saw in the lounge, just forward, but different colors on the bulkhead, more storage. So it's going to be good for a few more towels and bits and pieces. You can put something up here because you got the fiddle, and that's going to stop it from falling off. But check out this head compartment. It's beautiful. And in this head compartment, we're actually going for the separate, proper stand-up shower. So I'll just give you a perspective for how much space I have here. So it is a proper stand-up shower with the rain head shower unit there, glass doors. I've got a timber shelf there for my shampoos and my soaps just there. And then the vanity, it's absolutely beautiful. This is one of the best toilets I've seen on a dayboat. It's super cool. I love the shape of the mirrors. Who thought of that? Well done. And it's backlit. Really, really cool. You just walk in here and you think, you immediately think you're in one of your mates' super fancy houses. I've got plenty of mates who've got nice houses, and that's the vibe I get when I go into their guest toilets. So very impressive, very nice, and perfect for dayboat activities. You know, day head, lounge. This, you can see where the focus is at. This is just the occasional night, very comfortable, albeit, but this is just the occasional night. Excellent. Let's go look at the equipment spaces and the crew space. Okay, so there is going to be a slight redesign on these backrest cushions, so you can open this crew cabin hatch without removing the backrest. But come with me, I'll literally just take the camera down, because when you come down there, yes, this could be an equipment space, but you actually have, we've got the covers here at the moment, and I probably would store them here. We've got, that could be a bed, and then locker space, and then if I just look to the port side, we can actually have a head, a wet head down in this space. So it's essentially everything a captain is going to need for a night out. Remember, this space is also air conditioned, so don't worry about fresh air. It's air conditioned as well. Okay, so I think you need to make some decisions depending on which engine selection you choose. And with that information, you can then decide on your tender selection and deployment setup. The reason being, if you have the outboards and you're benefiting from the greater cruising speed, and that's important to you, I would replicate what this owner is doing on this boat, and he's going for a lighter weight inflatable tender and an electric Mercury outboard, which can be manually deployed across either side of the boat when this tender garage is open. We've got 2.8 meters of space, and it goes down, so you can see it will follow the contours of the tender. It's also drained. That's a very logical setup for this system, because if you go for a Williams tender and you need to deploy it with a crane, the crane is going to be mounted in this position just here, but then you obviously got to factor in swing room for the crane arm, so that's going to come out and then go up. But then I think these outboard engines are they're going to get in the way of that. Talk to your dealer or the factory and confirm if I'm correct or not, but that doesn't seem like a sensible solution. So I would be replicating this setup, and if you go for the diesel inboards, that's when I would be looking at the crane and the Williams tender. But just, you need to be thinking about your mission, because if you're here in Formentera and you're going to the restaurants, well, they're going to pick you up in their tender. So maybe it's not a problem. So then maybe you're just deploying your toys or storing your toys in here and deploying them across the back. So this is your air compressor where you can inflate your toys. And then when you are setting up your bow sunshade, the carbon poles are stored above my head, just in that location. And as you can see, that's actually the sunshade just there. So you can kind of just chuck things in here. Imagine you have the boat in here, chuck things into the boat. It's kind of seems like a logical solution. But see that hatch there? That's the equipment space down to the gyro and the Jenny. So we're going to go down there next. But before we do, or on the way there, I should point out a couple of things I forgot to point out before. That's the diesel in for the gen set, and this is the freshwater flush if you go for the outboards, and that is your hot and cold shower after you've been for a swim. So it's in that location. It's metal, it's not plastic. Just remember that. So, just come down this submarine hatch, actually come down with me, because there's surprisingly more space than what you'd expect. Obviously, this is going to be for your captain or your mechanic, but we are now below the tender garage, and we can see the Seakeeper on the centre line. We can see the Jenny on the port side aft, so that's the port wing. We can start to move back. We're on checker plate, so you can actually step. It's definitely crouch space, but now we can see hydraulics, and then we can see that red tank is the genset diesel tank. And then, oh, I love the smell of fiberglass. It's brand new boat smell. And then we've got the hot water tank, and then we've got batteries over there on starboard. We've got power management forward of that, but now I'm actually looking, very well insulated, I'm looking at the multiple petrol tanks. So there's 3 tanks on this one, giving us something like 2,400 litres of petrol in total, but you can see they're independently constructed. So this is wing tank port, this is tank aft, and then we've got, if I just go up here, I might be able to just get a visibility on wing tank starboard, and then you can see some of the power distribution. The water tank is forward, but just to look back at me, hopefully you can see, it's definitely a crouch space, so it's not going to be for the owner to be coming and playing around too much, in my opinion. And then we've just got a couple of the breaker switches here. So that's the boat, ladies and gents. What do you reckon? I think this thing's an absolute cracker. It actually, the more time you spend on this boat, the more you can appreciate it. If you're a boater and you're thinking, I think, in the mindset that I'm talking to you about in terms of designing the perfect days. It's someone who's social, someone who has done so much boating, they are thinking 3 steps ahead at all times, and they're really thinking about how their family or their mates are enjoying the day with them. If you're that person, you're going to understand this design in great detail and have some appreciation for it. So in terms of the demographic that I think would see the most value, it's absolutely you guys. It's those of you who are probably not going to sleep on the boat, probably have a villa or access to some beautiful land location that your missus is more than happy to go and spend the night. And this is all about this. Literally where we are right now. It's just about amazing daytimes. It's about designing epic days and making sure everybody is having a good time. And because remember, you don't remember the days behind your desk at the laptop. You do remember the days on the boat, sitting around a table, having a laugh. Just think about what that is worth, because once you've done a lot of boating, I think the value will start to go up in your mind. So yeah, that's it. How does it perform, and what should you compare it with? We will cover that in the very next video. That's going to be linking on the screen any minute. But I think those of you who are experienced, those of you who are thoughtful, and those of you who are lucky enough to have access to locations in the world that the weather allows this style of boating across summer or all year round, you will see a massive amount of value in something like this. And that's all I have to say. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would compare it with, or if you are looking at one of these, or if you've already owned one of these, and some blokes in the comments asking questions, feel free to answer his questions. It's really useful. This is a community. I'm not trying to sell you any of these boats. I'm just the lucky guy that gets to travel around the world and use them all. So you're all bloody legends. It's thanks to you guys that I get to do that. Join me in the next video. Let's go have some fun and see if this is a design for you.
Can we hit rewind? Got me on your mind. Love on repeat. You just hit the